What's up, guys? Today we are doing Hasty shelters. So we are going to be trying to do a quick, easy, simple shelter. This shouldn't take more than a grand total of 5 to 10 minutes to build, but if you notice a storm's coming in, you're just trying to get out of the weather, or you just want to eat lunch under something cool and you're trying to get out of the sun or the elements for a little bit, this is a super easy, quick way to do it. I have a tarp behind me, so this is what we're going to build it with, but I'll also teach something you can do if you didn't have grommets or pre-cut holes in your shelter like this, how we can tie off to it. But this is what we're going to use for today. Really, any material you can use to build this out. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the middle of the shelter for the tent shelter that we're going to be doing today. Obviously, you could change this up based on the elements, but I'm going to make what's called a girth hitch. So I'm going to make a bite in my line, just about 6 inches of line and a loop. I found the center grommet. I'm going to run it through and then pull both the long and the short end all the way through this. Based on the kind of shelter I'm building will depend on how high I'm going to secure this to the tree, but there's my girth hitch right there. And now this is what I'm going to use to tie off to the tree. Go around the tree, come back. I like to tie off using what's called the trucker's hitch, but really it's up to you on what you want to use that makes the most sense. So the trucker's hitch, I'm going to go back on itself. I have a link to how to do a trucker's hitch in one of my other videos too, so you can check that out. Make another bite. Go around the line and pull it back through. All right, I'm gonna do that to the other side. Okay, I tied this up to about chest height for me when I was standing next to the tree, maybe a little higher. If I had a smaller tarp, obviously I'm gonna do this a little bit smaller. Now I just need to stake out the 4 corners. This is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of different ways to do it. If I had something on the ground already existing, I could use that, or I can, if I have tent stakes, I can do that, or I can make stakes out of sticks and stuff like that that I have around me. So I'll grab a line. This corner we have a log, so I'm just going to tie off to that. I'm going to secure the same way using my girth hitch, so make a bite, both ends go through, pull both ends through like that. I'm just going to tie off to this log, so I'll wrap my line around it. Something else to think about is what the weather is like where I'm at. If I'm somewhere that it's really cold, I'm going to try and get this as low to the ground as possible. We are here in beautiful Florida. It's 81 degrees outside right now, so I'm going to try and actually get a little bit of flow underneath it. That way it's a little bit more comfortable. Another way to make stakes if I wanted to is I could just grab a stick. This would be a quick, easy way, and go straight through the grommet and then tack this into the ground. That's going to be quick and easy, but it's not going to hold up really well to weather. So what I prefer to do when I'm making a stake is to find something a little bit longer and girthier. So I go about the length of my forearm. If you can, sharpen it ahead of time, it's going to help you out. So what I'm going to do is measure roughly about where I want this pulled down to, and then I'm going to try and make this stake perpendicular to where is being pulled on my tarp. And then again, because I'm trying to get a little bit of breeze going through the bottom, but in Florida we get a lot of rain, so I do need good coverage. I'm going to come 6 to 8 inches away. I'm going to mark where I want my stake, and then use a beater stick or hammer and hammer this into the ground. Pro tip, turn your hand upside down so when you miss, you don't bash your knuckles, but you'll just hit yourself in the hand. Once it's started, whack it. Once that's in the ground, get another piece of line. Same thing here, girth hitch, pull it tight. Down here I could do a trucker's hitch, or this is a good spot to do a clove hitch. All right, so that's one side. What we have right here is basically a lean-to, so this is just going to help get us out of the elements. It's going to help keep us protected a little bit, keep a little bit of rain off. If it did start raining, all I'd have to do is bring this out and stake down the other 2 corners. Stake these out, and I'm going to have a lot more protection and coverage for me and my equipment. So we'll get that done, and then we'll post some pictures of what it looks like when it's done. All right, guys, if I have a piece of material like this and there's no grommet or no pre-drilled hole for me to actually try and tie to, what I'm going to do is make something called a button. So instead of trying to poke a hole in this or tear it, because it's going to tear easily if I poke a hole in it, I'm going to basically start off, I'm going to make a slip loop with this string. All right, so slip loop right there. If you pull on it, it tightens. And then I'm going to just grab a handful of kind of material down here. Sand isn't going to work great because it'll fall out, or snow, if it melts, it can fall out as well. But I'm going to come in just as far as I need and make that big knot right there of stuff. If you found a small pine cone or a rock, those work great for this. But this is my button, and then all I'm going to do is put the slip loop around that, pull it tight. I want to try and get it as sealed as possible, and now I can use this to tie off to something. So if you have a piece of material that doesn't have holes in it, you're trying to build shelter, don't poke a hole in your stuff, make a button.